Ethnohistory. This is a study of culture through written records. And so you may have to do a lot of this, but fortunately, especially with access to the internet and online libraries and fieldwork notes, you'll be able to do so much of this from the comfort of your own home or laptop. Cross-cultural comparisons. We've had over 1,200 societies that have been recorded and ethnographies written about. And if you're going to do cross-cultural comparisons, you're doing cross-cultural comparisons, comparing one culture to one or more others. You formulate your hypothesis, what you want to test. Like you could say, in societies that have witchcraft, is there a greater rate of homicide? That may be the question you want to compare. And so you would then select different animistic or witchcraft societies that you were going to evaluate, and you were going to look at the demographics and the numbers of how many people were killed. You also need to be able to classify and group your ethnologies. So that might be like these were in the 1800s. This is the 19th century. This is 21st century. And then finally, the goal is to look for patterns and associations. You don't want to impose patterns, but you want to try to observe, are there certain patterns happening in certain types of societies that we can make comparisons about? Another potential problem is trying to understand the whole by comparing dissected parts. Like you could look at their religious beliefs, but you may completely miss out on their technology. Or you might look at the food they eat, but completely miss out the religious significance of their dance and their poetry. And so I love the holistic approach. The more you can learn about the culture, and it's more interesting for us too, or your booth, if you can show their music, if you can show their dance, if you can show their art, their poetry, their religion, their politics, their economics, their marriage rituals, all of that gives us all these different flavors and nuances of who this group is. And that's what I want you to shoot for. A controlled historical comparison. Changes which occur over periods of time help to define cultural patterns. So for example, in human history, there was a time period, especially in the Mediterranean, where cultures were dominated by matriarchies. And a matriarchy is where women are in control of the society at large, but even often down to the head of the household is a woman. So when a man marries a woman, they take the woman's name or the clan name of the woman, and the children are seen under the woman's clan. Later, however, these invading patriarchal cultures came in where they were male dominated, and as they took over, they imposed that onto the cultures in which they conquered. And so we see these patterns of change taking place over time, going from a female dominated cultures to male dominated cultures. And now 21st century America, we see a really strong fight for egalitarian based cultures where it's not dominated by men or women, even though America is still coming much more from a patriarchal rather than a matriarchal background.